Welcome to another Chat with Deb. This month on Teachers Engage, we're talking about personalized learning, and today I'm going to share 5 tools that you can use to personalize a learning specifically for students using Google Docs. I'll make sure to link the presentation I'm sharing with you today in my blog post. And also, I'm using a site called Sway. Sway is part of the Microsoft suite. You can use sway.com to create presentations like the one I'm sharing with you today. So these are 5 tools to personalize learning with Google Docs. The first one I'm going to talk about is fairly new. This is Google's voice typing. Voice typing can be found on a Google Doc by clicking on the tools and then going down to where it says voice typing. And it will open up this small little gadget here. I can move this somewhere else on the page if I want. One of the things that I love that personalizes this to each student in your classroom is that they can choose the dialect that they wish to use for the voice typing. Now the next thing I can do is simply click here to speak, and I'll get in a little allow box that asks me to allow access to my microphone. But what I'm going to do is imagine I'm writing a paper on Abe Lincoln, and I'm just going to test out this voice typing to see how easy it is to use. Abraham Lincoln, comma, was the 16th president of the United States, comma, who served the country through some tough times during the Civil War, period. New line. So you can see how well that worked. I was able to even include commas, periods, and I asked it to even give me a new line. Isn't that awesome? And it works pretty flawlessly. As a matter of fact, I don't even see any errors. Capitalization happened automatically for me. Speech to text has gone a really long ways. I highly recommend showing your students this tool and allowing them to dictate what they want to say in the writing versus having to sit and type it out. All right, let's take a look at another tool you can use to personalize learning for students. Tool 2 is preferences in Google Docs. So we're going to go back to another Google Doc. This is my completed Abe Lincoln paper. And I want to show you how, as a language teacher, you could take the preferences in Google Docs and use them to personalize some guidance and some suggestions for their papers. So if I go to the same menu, Tools, and I scroll down, I'm going to see Preferences. When I click Preferences, I'm going to see that I've toggled on some preferences such as automatically capitalized words. These can be toggled off if I don't want them turned on. And then I can see that there's some pre-made preferences already loaded into Google Docs. So for example, if I were to type in 1/2 for 1/2, it would automatically convert it over to this tiny 1/2. Now if I didn't want it to do that, I could toggle this off and ask it not to do that. But right now these are preset, so if I type in this, it automatically becomes this. But what's really great is, as a teacher, you can personalize the preferences to help you guide students. So I can take my own, and I'm going to just say AWK. So when I type in AWK, for the student, in parentheses, I'm going to have a little comment that says, awkward wording, please reword. Now let's see how this works. So I'm going to go right down here at the bottom. You can't quite see it, it's off the screen that I'm recording, but there's an OK button right here. So I'm going to click OK. And now let's say I'm the teacher and I'm looking over this student's paper that they wrote, and I notice that there's some awkward wording right here. What I can do then is simply come in and I can type AWK. And remember, when I do that, it's automatically going to insert what I replaced AWK with. Let's say I wanted to add one that was talking about punctuation. So I could say PUCT and then replace that in parentheses with, please correct your punctuation. Now I'm going to click OK. I can go back in here. I can be reviewing the student's paper, and then I could decide, oh gosh, we have a punctuation error here. PUCT, enter, and just like that, my comments to students are entered. This also makes it so much quicker for a teacher to be able to give feedback to students. All right, tool number 3. Did you know you can personalize a dictionary in Google Docs for each learner? Let me show you how this works. We're going to go back to my same paper on Abraham Lincoln, and I've cited some work at the bottom of my paper. But we notice as we're going through the work cited that we have the name of a city that isn't recognized by the dictionary. I can add this to my personal dictionary. So when I type in the name of that city in the future, it will be recognized. There's a couple ways to do this. One is you can just simply right-click on the word itself and add it to your personal dictionary. I'll show you another way to do this. I can take the word itself, I'm just going to copy it, Control-C, and go to Tools again. And under Tools, at the very bottom, we have Personal Dictionary. And right here, I can add a new word. So I can Control-V, paste, add it. Now that is in my dictionary. And now you notice it's no longer underlined in red. This works super well for students when they want to personalize words that they use, even words that maybe aren't recognized in a dictionary, so that they are recognized by their personal dictionary in Google Docs. Are you ready for the next tool? I really like this one. Tool number 4 is a site called Kami. It is used to highlight and mark up and share a Google Doc. This site, Kami, was formerly known as, I think it was Notable. Right up here in my extensions, I have the extension from the Chrome Web Store for the Kami site. So when I click this, it's going to open the extension. So once I have this extension, I can drag a file, or I can click here to go ahead and find a file on my computer. But what I love is there's a Google Drive import option, which is what I'm going to use. Notice they also allow importing from Box and from Dropbox. So what I'm going to do is click on this Google Drive and go ahead and search for my Abe Lincoln paper that I've been writing. So here it is. It will take just a second for it to load my paper. And now what I can do is I have all these tools over here to mark up my paper. So let's take a look at some of these tools. If I hover here, this is called highlight mode. I have all different colors of highlighters that I can choose from. So I can go ahead and highlight. I can also go and choose a different color and highlight some parts of my paper. There's also even a settings where you can create your own color palette. The next one over is a tool for strike through. So as a teacher or student again, if I was editing my paper and I found a part that I felt maybe didn't belong, I could do a strike through on that part of my paper. I can also use the underline tool to underline something in my paper. There is a comment mode, and then I can see there's a little dot. That dot's going to open up this comment when I'm ready. There's also a text tool, and again I have a different colored palette that I can use. And you can see it types right within that paper. And I can also move this wherever I'd like to. The next one is a drawing mode. So I can actually pick a color, come in here, and I can actually draw around a part of the paper. One of the things that's really nice about Kami is that after you're done, you can share this document with all the markups on it with somebody else. You can print this, and you can also export this. So if you want to export the file, you simply would export either to your computer or Google Drive in a PDF format. So many great options available through this site called Kami. The last and final tool I have for you to personalize the learning for your students and your teachers is Google Fonts. So I'm going to go back to my sample paper on Abe Lincoln and show you how to find extra fonts. If I go to right here where I see the font that I'm currently using, I see more fonts, and it opens up the Google Fonts that I have available. Now over here on the left are all the fonts that are available to me, and they look exactly like how they're going to appear when you type. Over here on the right are the actual fonts that I have available to me when using Google. So what I can do is, if I like Merriweather and decide that's one I really wish I had, when I click it, it'll add it to my fonts. If there's a font over here that I find I'm not using and don't really need right now, I can just exit it out and put it back. When I go to my list of fonts, I'll now be able to scroll and find the fonts that I've chosen and use them to create something in my paper in the font that I wish. Remember, sometimes it's just the simple small things that we do that make the learning task for our students a little more personalized and a little more enjoyable for them. So I hope that these 5 tools that you can use to personalize the learning in Google Docs have been helpful for you. and I hope you find some time to show them to your students and colleagues. I hope wherever you are, the weather is beautiful. I hope you're enjoying your time with your family, and I hope you're enjoying your time with your students. Take care, everybody, and we'll talk again soon. Bye.